Yo. That's your boy Skinny Demons. He trash, he broke you down.
With ADHD, coach.
My plate.
Daddy.
See if she runs through it. I'll hit her here anyways. Okay, or I'll get 360 because I'm garbage.
Yes, it's always extra because the spelling isn't how.
I think that's the best time thing I've ever had on my stream. Are you even Canadian, lol? I don't even know. Oh my god. Oh my god, that was the biggest respect ever, and I threw it down. Oh, I'm upset at myself. Oh my god, dude.
Emoji clown face, emoji goblin, emoji fire of truth, emoji goblin, emoji clown face, emoji fire of truth, emoji skull, emoji alien, emoji alien monster, emoji robot face.
game, dude. Wait, what? Oh, nice camera angle, dude. You guys want to see what the Legion Mori is? Well, here you go, guys. I do enjoy looking at a locker. What the fuck just... What? It's BB Twain. You know what we can do, right? We can be a really big asshole. Alright, what we're gonna do is we're gonna kill the Nia, boys. Kill the Nia. And then we're gonna farm with the Dwight. Oh, he got a jet. Nice. No, Dwight, it's okay. It's okay, dude. Fucking Jesus Christ. Dwight, we're okay. To the gen, my dude. To the gen. Guys, I am going to feel so bad when we mori him with Rancor. But it's happening. So prepare your tissues, dude.
Why don't you talk?
Huh? Well, I'm talking now. Well, I'm talking now, but I just sometimes just don't talk on my streams because I want to focus. Yo, Joe, after this game, I'm gonna show you my solo wins. Oh, I don't have mats. Wow. Oh, he was at 1 HP. Wow. Wow.
Wait. How? What? Alright, so now we go all the way around. So it's not called camping. Then we go back. There we go, boys.
Look at you. Hopefully you see this. But yeah. I've been playing a lot.
Oh, that's a corner. You might want to... You're my only hope. You gotta press shift. Let it go! Why are people ringing on my doorbell, dude? Not at this time! Yo, Leatherface, you wanna, like, maybe, like, stop the chase for, like, 5 seconds? Yeah? Alright, easy. I'll be right back. She's so fat, dude!
How did that hit? What about Hybrid Panda? Last I saw, you guys seemed like a good team.
Move, you bitches! Holy shit! Oh my god!
weight, emoji heavy check.
That's so gay. How he one-tacks me with the common tack. That's actually so gay. Like, tell me how gay that is.
Tim likes coffee. Tim psychs himself up each day before his dead-end job. Tim busts his ass. Tim kisses ass. Tim gets his ass chewed out. And Tim snaps. Time out. And how would I know this? Because I used to be Tim. That's right, past Tim. Blow up the freedom. I used to be a sad little man who worked at a dead-end job until I found Viral Academy. Viral Academy is an online course that teaches you how to take your passions and turn them into a profitable YouTube channel. Taught by 7 of the world's biggest YouTubers.
You ever just like sit back and think, what did...
Whoa, what's wrong with you, Ping?
That title?
My Ping.
Why would it get Chris?
Who was that?
I have a lot of stuff ready, alright? Do anything, I bet you'll have a sound effect. Black guy! That's the most clever thing you can think of. Black guy. I don't know. That works, I'll take it. You got a sound effect for cancer? I got something to tell you. You find out your son is gay. 49-year-old dad. Rate this bird though. Terrible.
Your chance I will
There's anybody here who
drop
knows how to rate birds? It's me. Shut up. Rate my bird. Rate my bird. Isn't that a Nirvana song? Rate my bird. Copyright claim.
Beg, Gio. Beg.
It's not even alive. How can he claim it?
Douglas Woodard.
Shotguns now.
I know you're on your like dad's phone or something.
Claim the shotgun in my hand.
I'll clap you up.
Claims for the sound effect in the game. You shoot a shotgun, you get a message just like Kurt Cobain sound effect, 1 second.
I will survive this attack.
Oh my god! That's
Bet.
Sorry, we're not gonna offend him. He's dead as fuck.
Smells like copyright.
Use code Stinky Pinky in the item shop.
I wake up in the morning, I make scrambled eggs. Welcome to Cooking with Creed. Today we're gonna make some scrambled eggs.
Oh my god.
Eggs.
I'm gonna use this.
People who are deaf, they just see your screen like his mouth moving like all fucking weird. It just says eggs.
Bet.
It's like 30 seconds of him talking and it just says eggs. Imagine what it would be like the braille. The braille. It's like a mile
Rewind
long.
back again.
Oh no.
800 bumps, bro. Holy fuck.
Oh my god. I'm hitting now.
Holy shit. Oh, my head. You're like part Native American, right? Yeah.
Did you just get out of these words?
You already have it.
Yeah, you can say native.
I'm native.
My native, my native. My motherfucking native. Okay, fine.
Okay. Alright, exactly. I'm gonna tell my track leader you said that. I'm gonna tell my
That's white man making my noise.
white man think that.
Get them all addicted together.
We're gonna see them.
This single race we haven't been.
Fucking green cunts.
Fucking breeze.
Them green cunts coming in here with their fancy flying cars trying to steal our jobs. We need to build an atmosphere. Gas is taken from every pore in your entire body, McNasty. Hitler should have hired you. Oh my god.
It's just me standing in a room.
Hi, I'm sorry, hi. And then I was just walking.
I don't have a problem shooting at his face, so that's why
Oh my. Who is shooting me? What's happening? My health is 26. I'm on 16. What? Wait, what's happening? Bro, what's happening? Where those bullets come from? What the fuck? Is hacking, dude. Really? Yes. Soup just got shot through the ceiling. Oh my god!
Oh! No! No! Oh god, no!
Oh my god, what is happening?
Oh, fuck! I don't know what to do. Ah!
I'm really scared. I feel like God is in our game. Oh my god! Alright, nothing far, nothing compared to my glance. I got this. Dude, if you clutch this, I will give you $1,000 PayPal. Okay. Alright. My video is gonna be monetized.
What's he doing down there? He's running like a fucking cheetah.
Holy shit, bro, you're playing against me. drones.
Oh, really?
You can make them stop running in your lobby.
Took me a second to get that.
Like, I wanted to make a joke about it, but I wasn't sure what to say. Nasty, I swear to God. Work one more time. What's going on in there? It's like a 1950s car trying to start. What's happening? Sounds like a gay dude's fart.
When the gay dudes fart, just go.
Yeah, just it doesn't make a sound.
All of a sudden, you just feel your hair.
Is that a gay man's fart? That's just all the gay dudes in the world farting at once.
I mean, in unison.
That's when they let the prisoners outside. No way.
Oh my God.
That's too good. Imagine watching the channel like the prisoners are going outside today, so expect high winds.
A prison break happens and a hurricane starts.
Bro, imagine having to evacuate because hurricane gay farts coming. Like, fuck me.
I need to be the weatherman instead of on TV.
As you can see, Sandy, complete destruction from hurricane gay farts. Oh my God.
Oh my god, I can't mess it up because I'm not looking. Okay, now I want to see. Oh my god. A 180s coach. 180s.
I'm Vids and today we're looking at Alien Covenant, released in 2017 as a sequel to Prometheus and thus another prequel to the Alien series. Once again directed by Ridley Scott, Covenant attempts to combine the philosophical musings of Prometheus with the more outward sci-fi horror of the original film, which includes finally bringing xenomorphs back into the picture. Will a heavier focus on action give us more kills to count? Let's find out and get to that. The movie begins with a prologue that takes place long before Prometheus, showing the first-time boot up of David the human-hating android, who apparently named himself after the Michelangelo sculpture. Guy Pearce is back as Peter Wayland, though thankfully without that hideous lizard man makeup. And he tells David that together they're going to find out who created human beings.
You seek your creator. I look at mine. I will serve you, yet you are human. You will die. I will know.
Way to pick at Wayland's insecurities, David. And no, a spot of heat doesn't make it any better. Yeah. 10 years after the events of Prometheus, the spaceship Covenant is on its way to colonize a planet called Origase 6, although it's still 7 years away right now. Just like its predecessor, this scene starts with everyone on the ship in hypersleep except an android played by Michael Fassbender. But this android is named Walter, and he's missing David's scorn for humanity as well as his posh accent.
On my way, Mother.
The Covenant, full of sleeping colonists and frozen human embryos, gets real messed up after it flies into a solar storm, and the resulting rocket makes Walter get the crew out of bed early. Unfortunately, they have a hard time getting Captain Branson's pod open, and an electrical accident of some kind causes the dude to go up in flames before they can free him. He's incinerated in front of his crew, including his wife Daniel, and burns up before half the audience can even realize that he's played by James Franco. Yep, when Daniel goes through his stuff later, we see that Captain Branson was James Franco. Careful there, Jimmy. Wouldn't want to fall down that mountain and get your arm stuck in a ravine. The tragedy is not only claimed Branson's life, it also messed up a whole bunch of colonists in hypersleep. And since the movie gave me a number,
We lost 47 colonists.
I can actually go ahead and include the 47 colonists on the count. Yeah, it's a bit of kill count inflation, but we see some of them die and we get a solid number. So on to the list they go. With Branson gone, the Covenant's crew is down to Walter and 13 humans. And just now promoted Captain Chris Oram addresses his new crew in a meeting. Oram, played by Billy Crudup, is a stern, God-fearing man whose spouse is also part of the crew, which consists of various married people for colonizing purposes. Chris Chris's wife, Kareen, is the Covenant's biologist, and she's played by Carmen Ajoga, last seen on the kill count following Frank Grillo around in the Purge Anarchy. Although newly Captain Chris says there's no time to mourn the dead, some of the crew directly disobeys him and has a toast to honor the late Captain Branson, with his widow Daniel, Danny for short, ultimately giving him a burial in space. Gotta say, I do love the shots of his body flying out into the emptiness of space. Very eerie. Chris complains to Kareen that he gets no respect and blames it on faith-based persecution.
Because you can't be a person of faith and be counted on to make qualified, rational decisions.
But she says he's got to make nice with it. He's going to end up being their neighbors on Oregon 6. The Covenant's pilot Tennessee, played by Halloween 2018 co-scribe Danny McBride, conducts the spacewalk and repairs the ship. But on his way back inside, he intercepts a loud, staticky signal over his radio. What kind of aliens are still on dial-up? They decode the transmission and hear a human humming John Denver, and when they track the signal to its source, they find a solar system with its fourth planet smack dab in the habitable zone. Even better, turns out Planet 4 is only 2 weeks away, as revealed by Navigator Rick, played by Justin Smollett. Kind of a small role for a dude whose other performances are 14 voice nominations and 16 felony charges. With Oregon 6 still 7 years away, and everyone reluctant to get back into those Draco purposes, Chris makes the decision to check out Planet 4 instead and see if it's a cooler place to colonize. Danny, who's now second in command, privately objects, saying she thinks Planet 4 sounds too good to be true. But Captain Chris overrides it.
This is good judgment based on all the data.
Man, there's more character logic and intelligence in one scene alone than all of Prometheus. Way to improve on that point, prequels. 2 weeks later, the Covenant arrives at Planet 4, and most of the crew boards the dropship Lander 1, piloted by Matthew Barrett, who's married to Tennessee. They head down to the planet and find a tumultuous atmosphere waiting for them, giving Lander 1 a hard time. But after some classically beautiful Ridley Scott shots showing the dropship's descent, it ends its frolicking adventure with an aquatic landing in place. Command Rider, how was your ride? Everyone except for Ferris, who stays back with the dropship, heads out into this Earth-like alien world to find the source of that intercepted signal. Their GoPros at the ready, so they can make cool fisheye lens YouTube videos later. They find cultivated wheat and evidence of a giant ship having crashed, but no signs of life anywhere.
Birds. No animals. Nothing.
Captain Chris's wife, Kareen, splits off to collect soil samples, and while she's doing her security escort Ledward steps aside to populate this planet with piss and secondhand smoke. Joke's on him, though, because an upkicked egg sac releases some alien particles that coagulate into an inky-looking cloud and magic school bus their way right into Ledward's ear canal. At my old school, we never infected humans through their ear pores. The expedition crew finds one of those wishbone-shaped juggernaut bruisers and heads into it to find the source of their signal. They track it to the ship's bridge and accidentally unlock one of those holographic memories that shows Elizabeth Shaw singing the John Denver tune they intercepted. And although they find her dog tag and a picture of her and Holloway, they don't see her or anyone else anywhere inside the ship. An egg sac in the ship's overgrown interior sprays out more spores, which go into the nose of Tom Hallett, another member of the security team. That's not gonna be good. I mean, look at Ledward. He's already so sick that Kareen has to help him stand up. She radios everyone else and tells them about Ledward's condition, and as the rest of the crew begins to head back, Hallett also falls ill, alarming his husband, head of security Sergeant Lowe, who's played by Damien Bashir, who would go on to star as Father Burke in The Nun. Kareen and Ledward make it back to Lander 1, but Ledward is super gross and blood puke, which freaks Ferris out. Do you think that's bad, Ferris? Just wait until the dude's spine spits blood in your face. Yeah, that'll make you quarantine shit real fast. Which is exactly what Ferris does to Ledward and Kareen in the medbay. Sucks for Kareen, but at least she and Ferris get to do a fun reenactment of those Halloween H2O shots. The good times end after Ledward's violent shaking leads to some sharp quills jutting out of his spine, followed by a whole goddamn alien killing the security officer and restarting our kill count with a splash. Man, I do not love how cartoonish this little fella looks, nor the fact that he's a neomorph, another non-xenomorph species that's different than the Deacon we saw at the end of Prometheus, since that thing came out of an engineer and this neomorph came out of a human. Kareen gets a knife out to defend herself against the little bugger, but she can't stop it from leaping onto her face and mauling her to death in effects that, yeah man, this kind of bums me out. It's just so obviously not really there, you know? The neomorph breaks through the medbay door window window and comes after Ferris, who shoots at him out. One of her many shots ignites an explosion on the ship right as the rest of the expedition team gets back to it. The Neomorph is able to escape down the ramp, but the crew has to watch as Lander 1 blows up entirely, making this the second time someone's had to watch their spouse die in a giant fire. She even got on the ramp to burn up right there and steal the vids. So bad, man. The in-person widowing isn't done yet either, since now Hallett's doing the neomorphic shake, and his husband Sergeant Loeb has to watch as he's killed. No fire involved in this one, though. Instead, Hallett bloodily pukes out a neomorph, meaning I guess this new alien species just comes out of its host however it goddamn wants to. Stupid neomorph. I prefer the reliable consistency of xenomorphs as their chest bursting. The newborn neomorph runs away from the crew, but since they're unable to contact the Covenant up above, thanks to an ion storm or something, they're still standing around the field that time. The neomorph comes back, already much larger. It leaps at them, and during an altercation with Walter, straight up dissolves his hand away with its mouth. Then it secures another kill for the count when it thrashes around and its tail knocks off the jaw of the security dude ankle. Man, why did the effects in this movie look so much more CG than Prometheus? Before the neomorph can kill anyone else, though, a bright flare scares it away. And amidst the blinding confusion, a Jedi-looking figure approaches the group and tells them to come with him. The movie briefly becomes Lord of the Rings as they follow the figure through the woods and into an enormous area that's positively littered with bodies. It looks like someone emptied a giant bug zapper there. They enter the central structure where the figure reveals his identity.
My name's David.
Bowie? Because he kind of sounded like him there. No, it's David from Prometheus. And he tells them that when he and Dr. Elizabeth Shaw arrived on this planet, the payload of black goo accidentally deployed and caused that engineer Pompeii they saw out there. Also, more bad news, Dr. Shaw died when the ship crashed.
Up in the room. Yes.
Or Gilligan. Like, on his island. After taking an interest in their colonization mission and casually calling Walter his brother, he takes Loeb to the roof and can radio Covenant through the storm. But they're still unable to make contact with them. So Tennessee decides to bring the Covenant down towards the surface, despite the protestations from Rix and the other crew members. Rix's wife, Upworth, played by Callie Hernandez, who was in the essence. David gives himself a haircut and then has a conversation with Walter, which is kind of a weird scene to watch, since it's Michael Fassbender teaching himself how to play a recorder in an extremely suggestive way.
Watch me. I'll do the gentle pressure on the hose.
Is this the future of masturbation? Walter says that he's a later model with some upgrades David doesn't have because David's model freaks people out.
You were too human. Too idiosyncratic. Thinking for yourself. Made people uncomfortable.
And it turns out people were damn right to be freaked out. Because after David steps out onto a balcony overlooking the wasteland, we see a flashback that reveals what really happened here. And it is not pretty. The flashback reveals that when David and Dr. Shaw brought the Juggernaut back for its homecoming, David willfully deployed the thousands of black goo canisters down into the town square filled with at least tens of thousands of engineers. The biblical genocide that followed is the reason I didn't bother counting engineers in Prometheus, because it would be impossible to follow that precedent when we're watching a whole goddamn species go extinct. And all of this digital death and destruction was delivered by David, who I think we can all agree by now is one of the scariest and most effective villains we've ever seen on this channel. That night, one of the Neomorphs approaches David's base and comes across Rosenthal, a security team member who's busy tending to her wound. She turns around to find herself face to face with the pal Heelhead. Before she can grab her gun, it bites into her shoulder and kills her by ripping all sorts of flesh out. Later on, we see that she was actually decapitated, her head floating separate from the rest of her body that the Neomorph is still hunched over. That grisly sight is discovered by David, who seems pretty smiley in the face of this terrifying extraterrestrial. But before he can properly make friends with it, Chris shows up and shoots it away. Chris ignores David and shoots the Neomorph until it's dead Bashal, then turns his gun on David and demands some answers. David takes Chris to his laboratory and shows him how he's become something of a mad scientist in his decade of alone time. He's been using the black goo pathogen to breed new species, and then crossbreeding the resultant species in an effort to create new organisms. And his latest effort looks pretty damn familiar. These xenomorph egg sacs that David says are alive and waiting.
What are they waiting for, David? Mother.
Yeah, a Mother Manhattan, if you will, because Chris becomes the universe's first face hugger victim when one leaps out of an egg and straps itself to his head hole, all while David watches his master. Now that the Covenant is closer to the team on the ground, they're finally able to make contact. And and they make a plan to use a cargo lift to get the survivors back up to the ship. Daniels then has to tell Tennessee that his wife Ferris died in the Lander 1 explosion. Aw, nobody likes to see a sad Danny McBride. But he sucks it up and hops into the cargo lift so he can disengage it from the Covenant and fly it down to the planet's surface. David wakes up Captain Chris by lazily tossing rocks at his face, which is actually a less annoying alarm clock than a chest burster ripping itself out of your body. Sorry to see you go, Chris, but at least we finally get to see the origin of the xenomorph and the appearance of a classic chest burster. Wait, what the fuck is that? Yo, David, what the fuck is that nutcracker-looking thing, dude? Why is it a tiny, fully formed little xenomorph and not a chest burster? Oh, that looks so fucking stupid! Listen, I understand seeing new species develop as beta versions of xenomorphs, but we finally got the xenomorph and the xeno face hugger. Why the hell are we not following the same rules with the xeno chest burster here? Come on, God, show some respect for the original mythology that you made! The final survivors of the expedition team are ready to leave Planet 4, but when Walter goes to find David, he instead discovers the chest-bursting corpse of Dr. Elizabeth Shaw. Turns out David lied about her dying in the ship crash, and I'll include her on the count since we knew her from the previous film, and we're seeing her body up close and personal right here. Walter finds David, who admits that, yeah, he used Shaw for a genetic experiment, and sure, he genocided the engineers with the black goo, but come on, android brother, we're the superior beings.
That's not right to say.
After distracting Walter with a kiss that's, again, kind of weird to watch, David deactivates the nicer, newer android by stabbing him in the neck with that flute.
Such a disappointment to me.
Sergeant Loeb and his last security team member, Cole, find Captain Chris's body in the egg room, and the face hunter attaches itself to Loeb. Cole manages to successfully cut it off. The acid blood scars Loeb's face, but at least he survives. The same can't be said of Cole. After the xenomorph begot Captain Chris, and fully grown, attacks and murders him in a bloody assault while Sergeant Loeb runs away. Gee, Daniel finds a drawing that depicts getting xenomorph. So now she knows he's evil. That gets double verified when he finds her snooping around and attacks her, throwing her around the room with his crazy robot strength. But then Walter, the good twin, shows up and gives Danny a chance to escape. Turns out next stabs don't deactivate these newer model androids.
There have been a few updates.
The two of them get into an all-out droiding fight, which is pretty impressive from a technical standpoint, since it's Michael Fassbender kicking his own ass. Alas, we don't get to see a conclusive ending to the fight, since it cuts away before either of them kills each other. Daniels and Loeb, the last remaining survivors, see the cargo lift coming down to them and make a run for it, not noticing at first that there's a Michael Fassbender on their heels. Oh, and a xenomorph. Got any room for an alien? They get aboard the cargo lift, and the Fassbender android claims that he's Walter.
It's fired.
But before anyone could say anything else, they're interrupted by a hitchhiking xenomorph. Danny's had it with this shit, so she goes out deckside to take care of the bug, and ends up in a solid action sequence where we get some real nice shots of the xenomorph. Apparently some people online call this thing a protomorph, but fuck that, it's a xenomorph. This is an alien movie. Let us have xenomorph! The sequence ends after Danny captures the alien in a giant crane. I always thought those games were rigged. And crushes it to death, deftly avoiding the spray of acid blood that comes out before the crane opens and drops the xenobody to the ground. With some android assistance, Daniels comes back inside, and the cargo lift occupants finally leave Planet 4 and return to the Covenant in orbit. Upwards tends to Loeb's messed up face, putting, melted teeth all over it? Well, Daniels gets to surgically staple that perfect Fassbender face up. God damn, that's a handsome man. Just when you think they've made it and we've got ourselves a happy ending, you realize there are still 20 minutes left to this movie. So it's no big surprise when the ship wakes Daniels up with a report of an unidentified life form aboard. Turns out the face hugger that face hugs Loeb back on the surface managed to shoot its load off before Loeb's face was cut free. As Daniels in Tennessee find Loeb dead with a nasty hole in his torso, courtesy of a chest burster. A fully formed mini xenomorph. Stupid. Daniels finds out that Loeb's Xeno baby is headed towards the crew quarters and issues an order for Ricks and Upworth to evacuate. But they're a little busy right now. Their shower sex gets a suggestive intruder that straight up murders Ricks in the head fight. Finally, that's some classic Xeno action I like to see, people. The Xeno also shows Upworth off screen, since Danny intends to find her body in the shower, but I can't show the shot because she all naked. Just take my word for it. Daniels and Tennessee follow the Xeno's bloody footprints and tell Walter they've got a plan to destroy it by blowing it out of the airlock. Man, that's like the trench run of Aliens. Figure out a way to end one of these films without it. They have their android on the bridge, leave the Xeno through the hallways and into the airlock, where they're waiting in their spacesuits to lure it into a trap. Danny gets the alien to follow her into a terraforming vehicle that she locks it inside of. Then she tells Walter to open the pod bay doors now and holds on tightly as everything gets blown out into space. The Xeno manages to break its way out, and we get a real cool shot of it trying to run back into the Covenant. But it only manages to leap right onto the fork of another truck headed outside, which finishes off the Xeno with a fatal screech. With the Covenant safe at last, Tennessee goes to sleep in a Betty Bye pod, leaving newly Captain Daniels, the last waking human on board. She climbs into her own service sleep pod and Walter tucks her in. Only, as I'm sure you've guessed by now, turns out this android isn't actually Walter, which Daniels realizes only too late. Oh, that is going to be a bummer to wake up to, Danny. David's a dick.
Don't let the bedbugs bite me. I'll tuck in the children.
The children David's referring to are a couple of xenomorph embryos that he had stowed away down his throat. And after he puts them to bed in a freezer, the movie ends with David walking along the rows of colonists he undoubtedly hates for being human, and imitating Walter in a voice log for the Covenant. I'm not going to put Walter on the phone because who knows what happens. But don't worry, there are still plenty of other kills without it. I'll show you the numbers. 60 damn people died in Alien Covenant. 5 women, 8 men, and 47 colonists of unknown gender thanks to the accident in the beginning. Yeah, it's pretty skewed, but hey, my rules or whatever, you know? With a run... Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James H. and today we're looking at Prometheus, a 2012 prequel to the original Alien quadrilogy. Prometheus was made by Ridley Scott, who directed the first Alien film back in 1979, and you'd think with his return to the series, this movie would be a slam dunk. Unfortunately, I found it pretty mediocre and frustrating, and at times it even felt like I was just watching that first movie all over again, only without any xenomorphs. That's because Ridley Scott and co-writer David Lindelof, showrunner of Lost, didn't want Prometheus to set up any specific storyline from the old movie, and instead were more interested in only visually referencing these films. So for Prometheus' aliens, they wanted all new creations, although sometimes they end up feeling like B-grade xenomorphs. And why make new shit if it's all just crappier versions of old shit? Looking at you, most remakes. So although this movie's got a hell of a cast, from the OG Elizabeth Salander to everyone's ideal James Bond, and it looks absolutely beautiful, from all the sweeping landscape shots to the way it perfectly combines practical effects and CG, I just couldn't fall in love with Prometheus. I think the best thing I can say about it is that it's very ambitious. It really wants to engage with lofty, even biblical questions, like where did we all come from and what does it all mean? Too bad the movie ultimately forgets to be entertaining and mostly leaves you yelling at the characters for making stupid choices. Thankfully, we all know that stupid choices often lead to people dying. Let's find out how many victims there are and get to the kills. The movie begins with gorgeous shots of an ancient Earth landscape played by northeastern parts of present-day Iceland. Great acting there, Iceland. An alien figure walks towards the spaceship, hovering over the real-life Dettifoss waterfall, and takes off his robe to... Oh my god, that is the most ripped being I've ever seen. Yo, this dude gives Mr. Universe a new meaning. Watch your traps, Arnold. As his transport leaves, this engineer consumes a weird-looking substance that breaks him down at a molecular level, causing a horrific disintegration that looks pretty damn cool. And fun fact, the VFX house that did this effect, Weka, also created the snap and Infinity War. You know what? That makes sense. Oh, and by the way, I'm not putting engineers on the kill count. Yes, I know they're as humanoid as they come, but if I make it a precedent to include them, I'll be screwed when I get to cover. Anyway, this dude...
Yeah.
Every which way, these aliens just said, I don't call it.
Cause. Huh? Cause I want it? Why? Can't I?
And just as a refresher, the original Aliens took place more than 100
Okay.
years after this, 21, 22. Walking around the Prometheus is David, a very obvious android character played by a potentially real-life android Michael Fassbender. He just looks so perfect. How can he be real? David's the only one awake right now and spends his time doing trick shots, learning human languages, and soaking up human culture. But don't let his Lawrence of Arabia-inspired aesthetic fool you. David knows how advanced he is and is pretty damn resentful of all the lowly meatbags he has to watch over. After nearly 2.5 years of traveling time, the Prometheus is finally approaching its destination, spelling an end to David's solitude. The first human to awaken, all on her own, is Meredith Vickers, a Wayland Company woman played by bona fide action superstar Charlize Theron. David gets everyone else up out of their sleep pods, and all of a sudden, we've got a ship full of characters to meet. Hey look, it's that douche from Fallen Kingdom, trying to make friends with that whispery villain from Mission Impossible. And right over there is Liza Aaron. Most exciting for me, though, is Idris Elba playing the ship's captain, Yannick. That dude is the coolest motherfucker alive, man. Vickers holds a meeting to brief the Prometheus' crew, and part of her presentation involves a holographic tape made by the recently deceased Peter Wayland, who this movie says is the founder of Wayland Corps. So I guess we're just retconning away Charles Bishop Wayland from Alien vs. Predator. But hopefully, the Scar-Lex relationship is still canon. Peter Wayland is played by Guy Pearce in disgusting lizard man-looking makeup, and he introduces the rest of the crew to Doctors Elizabeth Shaw and Charlie Holloway, a pair of archaeologists who are also in love. Shaw is played by Noomi Rapace of the Swedish Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series, while Holloway is played by Logan Marshall Green, who would go on to be in more horror films like The Invitation and Lee Winnell's Upgrade. Holloway says that ancient artifacts collected from throughout the ages all point to the same constellation of stars that's too far from Earth for any of these early civilizations to have known about, unless aliens. The constellation's got a planet, the planet's got a moon, bing bang boom, that's where the Prometheus has just arrived, at the satellite known as LV-223. Fifield, that Seamus-looking geologist back there, asks Shaw what she thinks they'll find.
We call them engineers.
Do you mind telling us what they engineered?
They engineered us.
Although the holographic lizard man has said Shaw and Holloway were in charge of this mission, Vickers brings them to her penthouse-looking room, which is actually a separate module of the ship, complete with a tanning bed-looking med pod thing, to tell them not to be mistaken. She's the boss bitch around here. Yeah, no kidding. Look at that power space pantsuit. Prometheus descends towards the satellite and enters its atmosphere, which is noted to be very high in CO2 and lethal for humans to breathe. So yeah, this place is dangerous, but it also looks damn pretty as they fly through its sky. Say what you will about these characters or this storyline, Ridley Scott knows how to shoot a film. I especially love this valley they fly into, which is made from an actual desert valley in Jordan combined with a background shot of some mountains in Iceland. Awesome. In this valley, the Prometheus crew spies an alien structure, so Yannick sets the ship down nearby and everyone takes in the view. Yeah, that's worthy of a head smooch for show. A ground team suits up to look like Terran Marines, and David joins them in the outfitting, even though he'd be fine without a spacesuit. He explains that he does it so he won't make any of the meatbags uncomfortable.
Making you guys pretty close, huh?
Not too close, I hope.
Damn, David's got some people problems. They head out in a Land Rover and a couple of ATVs and eventually enter the Hollow Alien Temple as others, such as Yannick and Vickers, watch on monitors from back aboard the Prometheus. Inside, it's looking pretty OG. But at least we get these cool X-Bomb looking drones that set out to map the alien table around them and transmit the 3D map back to the Prometheus. I don't care who you are, that's cool technology. They get to a rainy shaft where they see that the CO2 levels are so low, they don't even need those fish bowls on their heads anymore.
There's something generating an atmosphere.
Cleaner than Earth, actually.
I mean, that's cool and all, but maybe still wear that shit in case of alien bacteria or something? Then again, I'm not a spacefaring scientist, so what the fuck do I know, right? These helmetless yahoos walk around some more before David finds some ectoplasmic goop on the wall and then somehow beat-boops the right combo of vip-bops to start a light show in the hallways that depicts a bunch of holographic engineers running for their lives.
What the hell was that?
I don't know, y'all. You tell me. Seems like some kind of security footage from the past or something. After they see one engineer get decapitated by a door, they walk up and find its body right where the light show left it 2,000 years ago. Finding hard evidence of alien existence is too much for Fifield, so he and biologist Milburn, played by Ray Spall, leave the head back to the ship. After they leave, David once again somehow bam-bams the door open.
Let's launch that thing.
Behind the door, behind Olmec, Make sure to collect any blue engineer's head and a whole bunch of bases. Although I'm a little annoyed at how this looks like that room from Alien, only with bases instead of eggs, I've got to give props to Prometheus for building so many fully sized kick-ass sets. They built them at Pinewood Studios on the famous 007 stage, the single biggest film stage in Europe, which, as its name suggests, is where they shot a bunch of James Bond movies. The team begins to explore, not noticing these little wormy guys on the ground, before an incoming storm outside causes the Prometheus crew to pull back. As the scientists bag the decapitated engineer head, David sees black tar-looking goo converging from the bases and steals one of the urns without anyone else noticing. They reform their land bases and try to outrun the storm back to the Prometheus. And despite a head mishap and the silica storm catching up to them, David's able to Batman them back aboard the spaceship where they're mostly safe and sound. There's only one problem. Turns out Fifield and Milburn never made it back and instead got lost in the alien tunnel. How did the crew aboard the Prometheus, watching them on camera, allow them to get lost? I have no idea. Raging outside, these two are going to have to bunker down for the night. The scientists sterilize the engineer head and discover that its ball-looking visage is actually just a mask, and that the engineer's real head looks pretty damn human underneath. This should be a pretty big deal to alien fans. We've known these gigantic elephantine engineers since the original film, but most people just assume that that's how they look, and not that they were wearing a helmet or anything. Now we're learning that that bigger-than-Nostromo crew found is actually one of those super buff engineers like the dude we saw by the waterfall earlier. Shaw gets the genius idea to, camouflage the brainstem?
I think we can trick the nervous system into thinking it's still alive.
Sounds like a fun time for a sadist. But they do it anyway, and after the head wakes up and starts bleeding all over the place, it eventually explodes like a peep in a microwave.
Mortal after all.
Yeah, David, sorry we're not all perfect androids like you. They examine the mess left over and discover that the engineer's DNA exactly matches human DNA. So, wow, I really don't have a good excuse for not including engineers on the kill count other than inconvenience. But I'm still sticking. David, meanwhile, opens his new base to find, I don't know, but it's slimy as heck, whatever it is. Wait, is that a crab leg? Wait, is that a crab leg lava lamp? How many Chuck E. Cheese tickets does that cost? He cracks it open and takes some of the black liquid out so he can get creepy with it.
Big things have small beginnings.
David finds Holloway playing pocket pool and getting drunk since he's depressed that all the engineers are apparently dead. He wanted to ask that important question, like why did they make people? And why should anyone care if you put pineapple on a pizza? David pours the fat stack another drink and wipes it with that black liquid, but Holloway doesn't know he drinks it down like a good looking. He goes back to Shaw's bunk where she shows him the DNA results, and they celebrate the discovery by having back in the alien temple, Byfield and Milburn come across those alien babies, which are now all leaking that black goo. Out of a tar pit sprouts a couple of Dianoga-looking creatures called hammer peas, which are the result of those worms we saw earlier getting infected by the black goo, and which were made using a combination of good CG and practical puppets on a cabling system. Milburn is a total fucking moron and approaches them like they're kitty cats, even though they look more like an ugly nutsack at the end of a veiny dick. Damn, the alien movies are valid. One of them sprouts frills like a Dilophosaurus and attacks Milburn because of course it's going to. Sorry, jackass. And when Fifield tries to cut it off, he gets sprayed in the face with alien acid blood. His visor melts into his skin and he falls face first into a puddle of goo, while the hammer peep crawls into Milburn's helmet and then right down his throat to choke him to death. The next morning, Holloway wakes up not feeling great, with eyes so red, not even clear eyes. And clear eyes are awesome. A bunch of the crew heads back to the temple, Milburn's Fifield, and end up in the basement, where those urns are found like the clampets. They find Milburn's body, but no sign of Fifield. Before they can look more further, David seems to use cocktails that he can't even stand on his own anymore. David himself has been on his own side quest this whole time and finds a giant room with a quadrant of caskets and the squishiest control panel I've ever seen. Man, I want to press those buttons. Because he can apparently loop off any alien device ever, he successfully activates another holographic memory, showing that the engineers love to get down with the jazz flute. Hey, Aqualung! It also shows David how to use this room for holographic spacemen. Look at me, I'm a star! I can see why this is so much fun. He's got the whole world in his hands. The whole world in his hands. When the light show goes down, David realizes that one of those caskets contains the apparently last living engineer, and that's enough to give him a creepy android smile. The crew gets back to the Prometheus, but since Holloway is looking almost as bad shock and hysteria. Shaw wakes up in a med bay to David asking if she and Holloway had phoned lately. What, they forget to program some tact into you, buddy? That's pretty damn personal. But he's asking because she's pregnant, and it looks like the baby's 3 months along, even though the supposed consummation only happened last night.
Not exactly a traditional fetus.
She demands that David remove the fetus, but he refuses and drugs her instead, because David's no longer a tweener. He's a full-on heel, motherfucker. After he leaves, Shaw takes her around home and figures his bed. Before that baby by Neil Scanlon, who also makes cameras and other creature effects, and whose work was last seen on the Kill Count when I covered Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I love this dude and his team's animatronic effects, and the fact that they made this alien embryo using a condom. Always use a prophylactic. Shaw slinks under the trilobite to escape, then shoves it inside the metapod and gasses it with a decontaminant that she hopes will kill the creature. Spoiler, it doesn't. In the cockpit, Yannick sees that Byfield's helmet cam is suddenly right outside the ship. So forget doing anything cautious. Let's just open the pod bay doors, Hal, and see what's going on. I hope he's a zombie or something. A Kiati Mooney-looking zombie. He's actually more of a Kiati mutant, and Mutant Byfield kills 5 dudes while jumping around and screaming like a monkey. The first dude's a nameless mechanic whose helmet is shattered with a backhand. The second dude, Wallace, gets a real brutal kill when Byfield jumps on him and bashes his helmet and face open. The third dude, Halflow, successfully lights Byfield on fire, only for the now flaming mutant to jump off the top rope and crack his helmet over with a body slam. The fourth dude, Shepard, is killed by simply being thrown against the transport. And the fifth dude, Burdick, gets an axe in his back while trying to escape, and then is also tossed aside. The survivors get into a rover and run over the mutant Byfield like he's a turtle. And the nasty boys put down for good after Yannick and his pilot Chance unload on it with a flamethrower and a shotgun. It's a pretty solid action sequence, and I respect the hell out of Byfield's actor Sean Harris for actually doing all these cable stunts and getting lit on fire a bunch of times. But I hate how mutant Byfield looks so much like a zombie. It's weird to have that in an alien movie. Then again, it could have been worse. One version of the sequence involved a fully PG character who just looks way too much like an animal. On their way to a human centipede costume contest, Shaw stumbles into a room where it turns out that crusty old Peter Wayland is actually still alive. How fortunate for us. More of the Sawyer family grandpa. Seriously, he looks like Palpatine fucked a California raisin. It's gross. Wayland's been in hypersleep this whole time, but now that David's found a living engineer, oh yeah, Shaw, BT Dubs, your gods are still alive. Wayland wants to meet one and see if he can save it.
Save you? From what?
Death, of course.
But these engineers might not be the saving type. Yannick tells Shaw that this place isn't their home. It's a military outpost they were using to develop weapons of mass destruction like the bases full of oily black goo. Wait, WMDs and oil. Why does this all sound familiar? Still, Shaw wants to at least meet the last living engineer. You know, see if they click or whatever. So Yannick tells her go ahead, as long as that black goo stays off the ship. Wayland is affixed with fancy robot legs, and it's back to the temple we go. So exciting, these back and forth trips. On their way to the casket room, they pass through a storage area filled with thousands of those bases. And when Yannick sees this, he re-examines the holographic map of the structure and realizes that the part they're in is actually a croissant?
It's a goddamn ship.
Oh, a goddamn ship. Sorry, looked like a croissant to me. This wishbone-shaped ship is a juggernaut, the same type of ship the Nostromo crew found on LV-426 that held all those xenomorph eggs that led to Kane's face hugging. That means this casket room is actually a bridge, and David hops into the captain's chair and kicks things off with some jazz flute. He says this ship's engineers were killed by the Black Goo virus right before they left to pay Earth a visit.
Why?
Sometimes to create, one must first destroy.
Aw, man, our makers were trying to destroy us? Revelations all over again. David pops into the casket, it ain't shit, and out rises the last living engineer, played by the over 7-foot Ian White, who we just saw as the Predator in the AVP movie. He's the dude who also does all the Game of Thrones stuff. To play the last engineer, White had to undergo more than 4 hours of prosthetic application, overseen by makeup artist Connor O'Sullivan. The engineer fuck about the question, and instead just grabs David by the neck and makes short work tearing the android's head off. Haha, then he beats down Wayland with it, awesome. Shaw runs away while the engineer adds 2 kills to the count. A diplomatic character named Ford and a security officer named Jackson. Both kills, pretty lame. But at least Wayland gets a decent death. Just kidding. He says there's nothing and then dies of his injuries to stay from getting head beat. His death witnessed back on the Prometheus by his daughter Vigor. Oh yeah, turns out she's his daughter. They revealed that a couple of scenes ago. It doesn't really matter though, to be honest. The engineer squats over a green hollow probe, and that brings up a giant telescope-looking command suite that he hops right on up into. This is another pretty cool image to see, since again, this is where we originally saw an engineer back in the first movie. And he even puts his pachyderm helm on. Great! The ship boots up and causes a whole bunch of old faithfuls to erupt. All the ground cracks open, because guess what's about to take off? Oh, it's the Juggernaut, bitch! Shaw radios the Prometheus and tells Yannick that the alien ship is about to head to Earth with that deadly goo.
If you don't stop it, there won't be a home to go back to.
Yannick reluctantly tells his co-pilots, Rebel and Chance, to set a course for ramming speed. And although Vigor ain't about to go down like that, Yannick's bridge boys agree to stay with him to the end. The Juggernaut takes off, and Prometheus chases after it. Yannick throws Vigor the bone by injecting her separate module penthouse suite from the Prometheus, which has a bit of a crash landing on the surface. And then Vigor herself launches out of the ship in a personal escape pod, which thankfully has a bit of a smooth touchdown. Then the Prometheus kicks it into overdrive, and the boys put their hands up like they're riding their last roller coaster ever. The resulting crash gives us a wonderful giant fiery explosion that claims the lives of Captain Yannick and his 2 co-pilots. And yeah, maybe there were other crew members on the ship, but thanks to this movie's slapdash editing and storytelling, I don't know for sure. So I can only count those self-sacrificing bridge boys. The Juggernaut crashes to the ground for what is probably this movie's most maligned scene, one I was already familiar with before I ever even saw it. Because after that croissant starts to roll towards Shaw and Vickers, they run away from it in a completely straight line. Yep, just staying under that thing's shadow like it's the goal of some shitty Mario Party minigame. But why would you not turn 90 degrees and run to safety, you fool? After Vickers trips to the ground, Shaw finally gets the bright idea to roll her ass on out of there, but it's too late for Mr. Wayland's baby girl, who gets crushed to death by the runaway ship. At least Charlize Theron acted the hell out of this role up to the very end. The ship tips over, and although Shaw narrowly avoids being crushed, she's not out of the woods quite yet, as evidenced by the Subnautica warning the suit gives her.
Warning, you have 2 minutes of oxygen remaining.
She makes it over to Vickers' penthouse, but after closing the door and stabilizing the atmosphere, she hears a nasty noise coming from the module's medical lead. As turns out, her C-section trilobite has been surviving and thriving this whole time. Things only get worse after David radios her, because he's somehow still functioning, to tell her she's got a visitor coming. Knock, knock, Daddy's home! The giant engineer attacks her, but she hits a button and releases the Kraken! And the now very large trilobite pins the last engineer down as Shaw crawls away from the fight between her goddaddy and her alien love child. She gets the heck out of that life pod right as the trilobite opens its mouth, I don't know, and sticks a nice thick tentacle down the last engineer's throat. Great news!